misconceptions in your field that you want to address?
Yeah, sure. A couple things. I'm very much invested in the work in depression. My wife, a superb developmental psychopathologist, years at Peabody's, probably done the best preventative research there. But all of that being said, as much as interested as we are in depression and its treatment, there are bigger, badder disorders out there. I was seeing on TV the other morning that looks like they're going to cut money for Alzheimer's research, which is just crazy. They're going to cut money for cancer research, which is just crazy. The health in this country depends upon the federal government to fund the projects. They're going to provide the breakthroughs, and if you don't got that, people are going to suffer.
Very specifically, your research interests.
My name is Stephen Hollon. I'm in the Department of Psychology here at Vanderbilt, and I'm a clinical psychologist by training. Most of my research has involved the understanding and treatment of depression. On a broad scale, talking in general, most of the major medical and psychological advances have come through federal funding. Occasionally you can get foundation money. In the States, that's largely not there anymore. It used to be the MacArthur Foundation was an alternative. If you're a member of the one of the Commonwealth nations, then the Wellcome Trust provides some quite reasonable funding, and they've made some good advances there. But in the United States, if you're going to do anything that requires larger samples or complex equipment or advanced kinds of technologies, you're just not going to be able to do it without federal dollars. If you want to do pharmacological research, pharmaceutical companies will fund that. But of course, they then write the papers for you. They design the studies. They write the papers. They don't tell anybody that. There's a whole issue with guests and ghosts. But if you're going to bring something that doesn't have a large funding base behind it, if you can't turn a profit on it, which you can't with psychological interventions, you're not going to get research done if you don't get federal funding.
My work in Bangladesh has been consistently funded by NSF, the National Science Foundation, and having consistent funding to go to the field, to connect with people where they live year after year really enables you to build strong community relationships, to build trust, and to be able to say something about how health is changing for individuals as they age, how health is changing for communities over time in their environments. And so that longitudinal, long-term setup that federal funding allows is really critical to diving deep into specific mechanisms that are causally impacting health outcomes. Federal funding for really strong, robust, comprehensive data collection enables us to consider all of the different factors that might impact an individual's health. I'm thinking about genetic factors, behavioral factors, social factors, physical, environmental factors that all work together to shape health. And in order to identify tractable, modifiable dimensions of health that can actually improve outcomes for people, you want to be able to measure as many dimensions of health as possible.
You know, I was thinking this morning in terms of the importance of federal funding. Many of us take medicine. You know, in my family, heart disease has run rampant, and so people are on statins and all sorts of things. These types of drugs were most often discovered in labs doing fundamental science like we do. And then NIH, of course, will support the clinical trials that ensure that these drugs are safe for the human population. But someday, hope that our proteins might be targets for small molecules or drugs. That's an active line of research that we're pursuing. And so if we disrupt federal funding, we really disrupt that vital pipeline for the future drugs and for ensuring patient safety.